Welcome back to Hollywood Recapped. Today I will recap drama romance film named Prime. The movie was released in the year 2005. David, a 22-year-old painter, is the protagonist of the film. Following that, we encounter a woman named Rafi. She is depressed as a result of her divorce. She had been married for 9 years when her husband unexpectedly divorced her, leaving her unable to concentrate on anything. Rafi goes to see a psychologist named Lisa the next day and tells her all about her life. Rafi claims that she was a nice wife who never did the wrong thing for 9 years before her husband abruptly left her. Lisa then advises her that she must not obsess about her past and that she has passed off. David, on the other hand, brings a cake to his friend's former girlfriends because she did cheat on him. They plan to get revenge by smashing the cake in her face. For a while then, and they meet the girl, and they complete their revenge and flee. Later that night, David goes to see a movie with his buddies, upon whom he meets Rafi. They begin to talk, and they are attracted to one another, since Rafi was depressed and needed to move on with her life. But at the other side, David couldn't stop himself, and they ended up watching a movie. Afterwards, when David gets home, he can't help thinking of Rafi, which is why he phoned Rafi after some times. When she answers the phone, he becomes terrified and says nothing. Nevertheless, Rafi realizes David is phoning her because, when they met, she saw in his eyes that he wants to speak to her. Which is why, when he phoned the second time, she made him feel at ease by asking him why he had called. He eventually told her that he wanted to go on a date with her and spend time with her. Rafi is already intrigued with him until she hears that. As a result, she accepts to go on a date. The next day, David and Rafi go on a date to Gardet. After dinner, they begin conversing about each other's lives and interests while wandering in the garden. While conversing, they stay close and begin kissing one another, showing that they are in love with one another. Rafi comes to her therapist Lisa the next day and informs her that she found a guy. She goes on to say that he kissed her yesterday and that she had to restrain herself as she was meeting him for the second time. After she sees Rafi happy, Lisa realizes she needs somebody in her life. So she advises her to develop a relationship with David. Rafi was overjoyed to hear this and cultivates her relationship with David. After some time, David arrives to meet Rafi at her home and they talk for a bit before indulging in sexual game. Later that day, when David returns home, he finds his mother, who, to our astonishment, is none other than Lisa. However, neither of them is aware of each other's relationships with Rafi. Afterwards, David and Rafi get nearer and spend the majority of their time around each other. They often have sex and have a wonderful time together. Rafi soon visits her therapist and tells her things new about her lover. Rafi also discusses her sexual experiences and how much she likes being around with her lover. Meanwhile, at first Lisa didn't realize she was speaking about her son David. After Rafi tells her furthermore about David, she begins to suspect that she is seeing her son. Once she understands it all, she becomes depressed since her son is young, and Rafi is a divorced lady, which is why she visits her psychiatrist. When Lisa told her psychiatrist about David and Rafi, she was advised that David was young and that he will ignore Rafi after a few days. So she shouldn't be concerned about them and should instead concentrate on her job. After a while, David takes Rafi to his art center, where he needs to keep all of his paintings. His work makes an impression on her. They then eat dinner and speak for a while. They get closer and make sex while talking to each other. Rafi comes to see her psychiatrist the next day and shares her about her fantasies. She talks to her about her interests, as well as how David became sexual with her. She reveals her some strange things, and Lisa is stunned as Rafi is referring about her son. As a result, Lisa acts as though nothing happened since she doesn't like to disclose her identity, and she adheres to Rafi. After a few days, David is packing his clothing in his home. When his mother appears and inquires as into what he's going, David then responds that he is taking a trip with his friends. On the same day, Rafi arrives at her psychiatrist's office and informs her that she will be unable to attend her treatment sessions since she is going on holiday with her lover. She also promises to tell her everything she does on the vacation. Lisa is surprised to learn that David has lied to her. She just cannot say anything, so she didn't respond at all. After a while, David and Rafi embark on a trip, and when they arrive at a hotel, they immediately become physical. After a few days, David gets bored of Rafi and no longer wants to be sexual with her. When David chose to avoid Rafi, she couldn't comprehend anything. She feels he is no longer interested in her. For a while then, David begins to lose interest in Rafi. Likewise, she begins to question what she is doing with him. Since David is younger than her and does not have a career, she begins to consider her future. They return home after the vacation is over. Rafi goes to see her psychiatrist the next day, and informs her about David. She speaks negatively about David, and so when Lisa hears this, she becomes enraged and discloses her identity. Lisa informs Rafi that David is her son, and Rafi is taken aback by this information. She begins to wonder why her psychiatrist didn't inform her about David. She gave her several personal details about David, and she always listened carefully. Rafi was unable to even look her counselor in the eyes. Lisa phones her son David after she goes and tells him all about Rafi. When David finds this, he becomes enraged and accuses his mother that if she got to know everything, then why didn't she inform Rafi? Why did she allow Rafi to reveal her all about their closeness? Afterwards, when David goes to see Rafi and separates with her in rage. However, after realizing his error, David returns to meet Rafi at night. He expresses regret for his actions and expresses his desire to be in a relationship with her. However, Rafi decides she no longer wants to be in a relationship with him, and ends her relations with him. Lisa, on the other hand, was depressed and went to see her psychiatrist. David subsequently attends a party with a buddy and meets a girl. They begin talking to each other and get sexual. When they awaken in the morning, David inquired about the girl's identity, and to his amazement, he discovered that she worked at Rafi's office. After a few days, David walks to the grocery and runs into Rafi. They can't stop talking once they start, so they head home and have sex. They rekindle their romance after that. Afterwards, David took Rafi to visit his family, and Lisa disliked her since she already knows about Rafi. She accepts Rafi, though, just for sake of her son. Just as things were about to get better, Rafi discovers that David had spent the whole night with one of her employees. As a result, she goes to see David for clarification. He couldn't say anything at all because he made a big mistake, so Rafi becomes depressed and departs. However, David was furious as a result of his blunder. That's why he turned to his mother for assistance, and his mother informs him that Rafi serves as inspiration for him. He has indeed been happier and more engaged on his work after she entered his life. Lisa told him that he must reconcile to Rafi and never abandon her. Following that, David went to apologize to Rafi. She, on the other hand, had made up her mind and could sense the future. She recognized that David was young, and as such the relationship would never work. Rafi advises David to concentrate on his career. He's young, and he can't just marry and have children since she's 14 years ahead of his age, and they'll never be happy together. She made her decision, and ended her relationship with David. However, David is unable to say anything and thus departs. After a year, David runs across Rafi in a restaurant. They exchange glances and smiles at that point. Rafi had made the proper decision for the two of them that day. David realized this. The film ends here. Thank you for viewing the video. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more recaps. Take care until we meet again.